Hello, welcome. My name is Lisa, and today we're going to be going through a short sequence, about 30 minutes of hip and shoulder opening. So from here, if you have tight hips, I recommend having a block nearby. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use a pillow or a towel. I recommend a towel as well, regardless. We're going to be using it for some shoulder opening activities. You can also use a yoga strap or a t-shirt if that works for you. Just make sure that this is handy nearby, somewhere towards the top of your mat. So we'll start today standing at the front of the mat. Go ahead and take your feet hips width distance apart and fold it forward. We're coming into our ragdoll forward fold. So setting it up, you want to keep a nice deep bend in your knees. Allow your chest to rest on your thighs and then hang your head nice and heavy. You'll take opposite hand to opposite elbow. Just hang your head nice and heavy. You'll feel some lengthening in the back of your neck. And then keeping this bend in the knees here really allows you to open up along the spine. The forward fold isn't much of a stretch that's meant solely for the backs of the legs. It's really meant for lengthening in the spine, bringing space in between the vertebrae, and allowing the muscles along the spine and the neck to release. So as you continue to tilt your tailbone up towards the ceiling, try and feel that feeling of lengthening in your back. We'll take a couple more breaths here. Try and continue to relax through the shoulders. Relax through your face. You can just let your eyes fall at the back edge of your mat. Continuing to breathe. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and release your hands down to the earth. We're going to take a couple of twists here that will get into both of our hips and shoulders. So go ahead and take your left hand and plant it right in front of your face on the mat. As you inhale, lift the right arm up. So we're twisting here. We'll take a pause. Straighten through your right leg and bend through your left leg. Really turning your heart up towards the ceiling. You'll feel this in a couple places. Back here in this right hip, but also across your chest. Take one more breath. And then as you exhale, let's switch sides. It's the right hand that plants down and the left arm that lifts. Again, it's bending through the right knee, straightening through the left leg, and turning your heart up. Feeling that stretch along the left hip. Take one more breath in. As you exhale, fold forward. Let's go ahead and take that one more time on either side, one breath at a time. As you inhale, the right hand lifts. As you exhale, you switch sides. It's the inhale that will bring the left arm up. Exhale, fold. Coming back into a neutral forward fold, just for a breath. From here, let's step it back, downward facing dog. Plant your hands down and step back. So, set it up first and foremost with feet hips width distance apart. Hands are shoulder width distance apart. Fingers spread nice and wide, pressing down firmly through your palms. If you have trouble getting into this upside down V shape, and you find that your spine is rounding, go ahead and put a bend in your knees and then tilt your tail up as you press your chest back. It's also really important to keep your palms firmly grounded. If you have trouble with that or if you have wrist pain, you can place your hands on blocks. So we're just going to breathe here for about 5 breaths, really warming up the shoulders. Try and release the tension from anywhere that it's not necessary. So in your neck, make sure that it's relaxing down. You might even gently move your head side to side. Relax your toes. Then relax your face and the muscles in your cheeks, your forehead. A couple more breaths. On your next inhale, we're going to bring it out to a high push-up, holding in our high push-up. So getting a little bit of core work here. Engage your belly, engage your thighs. this is too much too soon, you can lower your knees down to the earth for a modified plank. Just breathing here, pressing firmly out of your hands. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, press it back, downward facing dog. We'll take that 2 more times, 1 breath at a time. Your next inhale will carry you forward, high push-up. The exhale presses you back and lifts your hips. Last time, inhale forward. Exhale back. This time, inhale forward to a high push-up. Go ahead and lower your knees down to the mat. Untuck your toes. From here, we're going to get a little bit into both hips and shoulders. So you're going to go ahead and reach your left foot to the back of the room. Your toes will face down, keeping the hips square. And then your right hand is going to reach forward. The thumb faces up. This might be enough for you. You might stay here and work your core. Otherwise, we're going to take a few cat-cow tilts. So as you inhale, the back leg bends, you lift your heart. As you exhale, round through the spine as you crunch knee to elbow. Inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. Last time, inhale, lift. Exhale, crunch. Listen carefully. This time we re-extend. Bend the back knee and then reach back for it with that right hand. You might play there and work with it, using your core, finding your balance. Otherwise, if you have this spine, go ahead and kick foot into hand. Really release through the shoulder, feeling a stretch across your chest, down through your shoulder, all the way into your arm. Lift the knee a little bit higher, and then from here, go ahead and release it all down to the mat. Wag the hips side to side a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and take the other side. So it's the right foot that reaches back, toes aim down. And then the left arm that reaches forward, thumb faces up. Inhale, bend through the knee, lift the heart. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round through the spine. Last time, inhale. Exhale. Re-extend on the inhale. And then bend through the back knee and reach back for it. Again, play with your balance, but if you have the bind, go ahead, kick foot into hand. Keep looking towards the earth, keep your neck long, and relax through that left shoulder. Lift the knee a little bit higher, breathe in, and then release it all down to the mat. From here, go ahead and take your knees as wide as the mat, just like you would be coming into child's pose. Your toes touch behind you. And then you're going to bring your forearms down to the earth, bringing your elbows together. From here, take your fingertips and press them towards each other, so you're pressing your palms away from one another. On your next exhale, press back into a child's pose. You'll feel your arms lift. From here, go ahead and press the pinky side edge of your hands towards the mat as you relax your head down. And you'll feel a stretch in the space between your shoulder blades and the outer shoulders. Just breathe. We're going to stay here for about 3 breaths. Relax your head and neck. Keep pressing your hands towards the earth. Last breath. All right, go ahead and release what you have going on with the hands. Walk your hands back towards you, lower your forehead down, and then wrap your arms around you. Maybe grab your heels. Feel the shoulders resting and relaxing here. Let them roll forward. And then really feel your hips sink. Take 2 breaths here. Last breath. Your next inhale lifts you up to a tabletop pose. From here, curl your toes under, lift your hips, downward facing dog. All right, so we're gonna start to get into the hips here and try and loosen them up a little bit. We're gonna take what we call hip mandalas. So bring your feet together behind you and lift the right leg into the air. You'll keep the hips square, the toes will face down. And then from here, go ahead, bring knee into chest, stay in your down dog, and then bring knee out to the right, and then up. Wrapping it back around to your heart, taking these circles, like you're drawing a circle on the wall beside you. Feeling your hip open up. Go ahead, take one more, and then step that right foot through. The back foot is on the ball of the foot still. You might wiggle it back just a little bit. As you inhale, go ahead, hover the back knee as you lift the heart. Exhale, fold forward, straighten through both legs. We're going to take that 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to hold here. If you need to, you can keep a little bit of a bend in this front knee. You'll get the same stretch, but keep spinning this hip under. Take one more breath. And then go ahead, plant your hands down. Let's step it back to downward dog. We'll go ahead and take the other side, so it's the left leg that lifts. Toes face down. And then move right into your mandalas. Knee towards the chest, out to the left, and then up. Bring it back down and around. Continue these until you've hit 4 total. And then once you've completed your last one, you'll swing the left foot through and stamp it down. Wiggling that right foot back. Inhale, hover the back knee, lift your heart. Exhale, straighten and fold. Twice more. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, fold. Breathe it in, come forward. Exhale, fold. We'll hold here. Again, keeping this left hip, spinning it under. Keeping any bend in the front knee as you need. Last breath. All right, go ahead, plant through the hands, step it back, downward dog. We'll take 3 breaths here just to round things up with our down dog before we move on to our shoulder opening series. So continue to hang your head nice and heavy. We've got 1 more breath. All right, from here, go ahead and step your right foot through. And while you're here, grab your towel. Spin the back heel down. We're coming up into Warrior 1. And then opening it to Warrior 2. Keep that towel in the right hand. From here, you're going to bend through this right elbow. Bring the hand up and over. And this left arm is coming under. You'll grasp the towel. This is called Archer Arms. Keep bending through this knee here. We're going to hold in Warrior 2 for just a couple of breaths. Nice and tall through the torso, crown of head reaches up. Last breath in Warrior 2. Now go ahead and straighten that front leg and turn all your toes to face the same direction. So with your Archer Arms, keeping this lock here, take a breath in, lift your heart. As you exhale, you'll fold it forward, keeping this bind. Just breathe. So you should be feeling the stretch in the arm that's gone under, your left arm. If you can walk your hands a little bit closer to each other, you may. Should be going through the top part of your shoulder. That's where you should feel it. Hang the crown of your head nice and heavy. Keep a little bit of a bend in the knees here. Three more breaths. If at any point this is too much on your shoulder, you can release. You've only got 2 more breaths. Last breath in. As you exhale, very gently release both arms down. You'll go ahead and set the towel aside. Hang your arms nice and heavy. Just resetting them for a moment. You'll go ahead and press into your hands to a flat back, and then bringing hands to hips, roll on up to stand. Go ahead and face the right toes forward once again, and with the back foot, just kick the heel of the foot back. We're coming into triangle pose. So reach the right arm forward as you kick your hips back, and then bring hand to shin as the left arm lifts. Look up towards the left fingertips. And this turns into a little bit of a hip opener. So try and scoop this right hip under as you turn your heart up a little bit more towards the sky. You should feel this stretch across your left hip and then down along this leg here. Take one more breath. And then as you exhale, both hands are going to come to the mat. We'll step back to downward dog. From your downward dog, go ahead and we'll take the other side. It's the left foot that steps through. On your way up, grab your towel. The back heel spins down, you lift up, and then open up to Warrior Two. So from Warrior Two, the towel is now in the left hand, the front hand. Bring that arm up and over. And it's the right arm that swings under. You may notice that your arms are a little bit different on either side. That's okay. Just work with it. Sink into your Warrior Two just for a few breaths. Start to feel that stretch happening in your right shoulder. Gaze is soft forward. Last 2 breaths. And then from here, straighten through the front leg. All your toes face the same direction. And then from here, keeping arch your arms, we'll fold it forward. Hanging nice and heavy, feeling that stretch intensify in the right shoulder. Keep a little bit of bend here in the knees, and then let your head hang nice and heavy. Just breathe. Again, if it gets too intense, you can release it. All right, go ahead, very gently release the towel, release your hands down. Just give this a quick moment of resetting in the shoulders. And then from here, before we move to triangle pose, we're going to take a little bit of a stretch in our hips. So go ahead and take your fingertips, walk them over to your right foot. You might grab the outside of the foot. Maybe you grab the leg or the ankle. And then from here, you're going to bend into opposite knee. So bend into the left knee. Yeah, you'll feel this stretch alongside your rib cage, just underneath and the outside of your shoulder. You'll feel this along the back side of your right leg. One more breath. All right, let's switch sides. Hands walk over to the left. And the bend now comes into the right knee. Breathe. Try and relax your head as much as you can. Feeling the same stretch just on the opposite side. Last breath in here. Bring it back through center. Go ahead and bring hands up to hips, roll on up to stand. We'll turn this into triangle pose. The left toes face forward, the right heel kicks back. Reach your left arm forward as your hips kick back. And then release the hand down to the shin. Right arm reaches high, look up. And then again, turning this into a hip opener as you tuck that left hip under and turn your heart up. We've got 2 more breaths here. Last breath. All right, hands come to the mat. From here, we're stepping it back, downward facing dog. Feeling a little bit different in both the hips and the shoulders. From here, we're going to come into half pigeon pose. This is where your block might come in handy. You might even use a towel. But you're going to go ahead and take your right foot, lift it up into the air. And then as you exhale, go ahead and crunch right knee towards right wrist, and then gently release it down to the mat. You're going to shimmy this left foot back as far as you can, and also bring it to the center line of the yoga mat. So moving that leg over to the right. You'll want this upper thigh somewhat parallel to the side edge of the mat, and you should be releasing on the outside of the right shin. You'll just inhale to lengthen in your spine. You're going to feel the stretch all right here. If your hip is really high off the earth, you want to tuck a block under it. If you're a little bit lower to the earth, you might even take your towel and roll it up and just tuck it under here. It's up to you, whatever feels good. But then start to lower down, allowing your chest to release onto the front thigh. So this here is your half pigeon pose. One thing that we want to avoid is rolling onto one hip. So we want to keep the hips square. So if you find that you're doing that rolling, you need some sort of block or towel under here. Just breathe. If you have any knee issues, keep the right foot flexed. Yep. Toes facing towards your shin. That will protect your knee joint. And then lastly, try and allow your head to rest on something. Maybe your fists, maybe if you have an extra block. Maybe it rests all the way down onto the earth. Just breathe. Taking about 5 more cycles of breath. Relax your face and your shoulders. Those are areas we tend to hold tension in. Last 2 breaths. Okay. Go ahead and start to walk your hands back towards your body. If you have a block or a towel, you can remove it. And then from here, you're going to just shimmy this left leg up the mat. And then you'll step it back into downward facing dog. If you need to, you can wiggle it out, kind of getting any of that tension out of those hips. And then you sweep the left leg high. From here, the left knee sweeps towards the left elbow and then plant it down next to the left wrist. You can shimmy that right foot back, lower the knee, untuck the toes. And again, if you have knee problems, this foot will be flexed. Otherwise, you can just tuck it in. It's up to you. Walk that back leg towards center line. Feel length in your spine. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and lower it on down. You might notice that your hips are different. You might need a block or a towel on one side and not the other. But again, acknowledge if you're falling towards one side, you're going to want to go ahead and place a block or a towel under it, unless you can fully release in this pose without it. And so in these deep hip openers, the stretch comes when you release and you allow your body to let go of the tension, because these areas are so sensitive we hold tension there. Our muscles are physically active. So you want to really be able to sink into it. Making sure that your head has something to rest on. Focusing the most on your breath. We'll take 2 more breaths here. All right, go ahead and walk back up onto your hands. Walk the right knee closer to you, and then step it back to downward dog. Go ahead and walk it out in the legs, wag your hips side to side. And then from here, you're going to just come forward into a high push-up and then lower down to your belly. Untuck your toes, and then you'll bring your arms out like a T. So from here, you'll take your right fingertips, your right hand, and you're just going to walk it up 1 hand distance. So it's above the line of your shoulder. And with your left fingertips, you're going to tent them. Use that left hand to push you over. Take this left foot, step it behind you like bridge pose, and then release your head down to the mat. With this left hand, the tented hand, go ahead, lift it up into the air, and then turn it to face behind you. Let gravity do the work here and let it fall as far as it goes. You should feel a deep stretch across your chest and into your shoulders. Continue to breathe, focus on your breath. Send your breath to that space where you're feeling the stretch the most. And then go ahead, bring that top hand back around. Plant it down onto the earth as you gently roll out of this. We'll go ahead and switch sides. So this time the left hand walks up 1 hand distance. The right fingertips tent. As you gently push yourself over, take the right foot, step it behind you like bridge. Release your head down and lift this right arm up. Turn your palm to face behind you, and then let gravity do the work. Feeling a stretch across your shoulders, across your chest, into that armpit space. That space has a lot of effect on our chest and shoulders. Just breathe. We've got about 3 more breaths. Going as deep as you can, as deep as is comfortable for you. And then very gently let this top arm lift. Slowly roll out of the pose. Coming back onto your belly. Plant your hands next to you. And then as you inhale, we'll take a baby cobra. Just lifting up here, opening across the chest. Take 3 breaths, drawing the shoulders away from ears. Gaze is out in front of you so your neck is long. Last breath in. As you exhale, go ahead and lower it on down. From here, press up into a tabletop pose. And then you're going to come to a seat. From a comfortable seat, you're going to bring your legs out to a straddle. Flex your feet so your toes face up. Yeah. And then sit nice and tall. From here, you'll take your fingers out in front of you and then very gently start to walk them forward. So you want to lead with your heart. If you find that you're rounding here, walk your hands back a little bit, lead with your heart and your belly. And then we're going to spend about 15 breaths here because I find, at least for me, it's one of those poses where I just need to breathe and you'll find yourself slowly lowering your body, releasing. If you realize you're working with a lot of muscles that support your body all day, every day. So right now we're working on stretching out our legs and our back. So they're used to being active muscles. So you need to give them a little bit of time to release. Maybe every couple of breaths checking in to see if you can walk your hands out a little bit further. Keep flexing through the toes if you can. That will protect through your legs. Still breathing nice and deep through your nose. We're about halfway there. Just breathe. Checking in once again, maybe walking the fingertips a little bit further. Trying to relax through the head and the neck. Three more breaths. All right, go ahead, very slowly start to walk your hands back towards your body. Sitting up nice and tall. Bring your legs in towards one another and then shake them out. We'll come to a cross-legged seat. So go ahead and cross your legs. And by crossing your legs, I mean allow your shins to lie onto the earth. You don't have to actually cross your legs. Doesn't matter what shin's in front. From here, you're going to go ahead and walk yourself forward once again. So again, just getting into the hips a little bit. This is more of a gentle hip flexor stretch. Hip opening stretch. It's a little bit less mild than a double pigeon pose or something else. But whichever shin is in front, you'll feel it in that outer hip. So just breathe. Taking about 2 more breaths here. And then gently walking your hands back towards your body. We'll go ahead and switch sides. So just take the opposite shin, place it in front, and then walk it back forwards. Feeling how this hip might be a little bit tighter. Maybe it's not, maybe it's a little bit more flexible. Try and release down through your head. Taking about 2 more breaths. And then walking your hands back towards your body, coming to a seat. You'll just go ahead and bend through the knees. Extend your left leg down the mat. We'll just take a quick twist. Right fingertips tent behind you, left arm lifts. You'll twist the elbow past the knee. Use your right fingertips to tent you tall. Look past your right shoulders. Spin a little bit deeper. And then we'll switch sides. The right leg extends, left knee comes in. Left fingertips tent, right hand lifts. And then twist. Gaze is soft past your left shoulder. 1 more breath. Bringing it back through center. If there's anything else you need to take, if you'd like an inversion or maybe a quick shavasana, if that's in your practice, you're welcome to take it. Otherwise, we are all set for today. Thank you for joining. Namaste.